What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Points in the Paint podcast, Stadium's numero uno NBA podcast. Ben Wittenstein,
Zach Badgerhouse, and I'm always in the house. Being what's happening, player?
Ooh, not too much. Getting ready for the holidays. Getting a little colder. Watching some more basketball. College
NBA all the
basketball
time.
starting. So a lot of hoops, a lot of football, just a lot of sports in general.
Oh yeah, it's getting deep into that football season. But this is all NBA all the time. Baby Points in the Paint podcast. Make sure you subscribe and listen, rate, review.
What's
give us
that number?
Good comments. And if you want to give us a hot take. A nice hot take, right? Being all they got to do is go 773-273-9088. You can text or you can call. Send those hot takes in, or just, if you got comments on the podcast, just let us know. You want to challenge us, yell at us, however you want to do it. Just make sure you do that. You can follow Points in the Paint on Twitter and on Facebook at Points Paint, and also on Instagram. And make sure you get on that Stadium's YouTube account, that YouTube page, and see these lovely faces, Ben.
You'll see some faces. Lovely.
A face that only a mama can love.
Yeah, right.
A face that a mama could only love. That's okay, too.
All right, we have a lot to talk about, though, because there was a lot that went on in the NBA in the past week or so. We've got Anthony Davis. We got the Celtics. But first, Zach, Devin Booker.
Oh, yeah, lights out.
51.
50 burger.
Against my Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, 50-piece wing dinner. Hold the fries. It was a little rough.
Look for the old Bulls.
Yeah, but in fairness to Devin Booker, he just flat out put on an incredible performance. If you read Zach Impressive 6 week 7 this week. Okay. Oh yeah, that was in there. Wet like I'm booked.
Shout out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, a little plug because Devin Booker was balling out. He was flat out unstoppable in that third quarter, particularly because let me tell you, Ben, he went 10 of 11 in the third. Just 10 of 11 in the third quarter alone for 26 points and did not play the fourth, man. He didn't play the fourth quarter. It's ridiculous.
That's insane.
It is. It truly is.
I am very surprised at that, honestly, that he was that good. And we know that he can go off for a ton of points.
Oh, yeah. And
we know that he can go off whenever he wants. But 51 through 3 quarters, that's another level.
That's impressive is what I'm saying.
Of scoring.
Oh, yeah. But see, that he was coming off the 44-point game, where he went 17 of 28 against the Sacramento Kings. Light the beam. We still lighting the beam.
They do. They were chanting, light the beam at the Kings game.
But Kings messed up. They messed around. They lost the game. Booker overcame it with the help of DeAndre Ayton. But, man, Devin Booker has been in his bag offensively this season, scoring over 35, 30 points, 44. Then come out and drop the 50 ball, 25 in the first half, 26 in the third, only missing one basket, Ben.
That's ridiculous. That's some ridiculous play. So we've got Devin Booker scoring, going off.
Yep.
Another guy out west scoring and going off.
Double
Anthony Davis.
Double nickel.
And listen, we call him Anthony Day-to-Day Davis. We had called him Anthony Day-to-Day Davis on the show. Is it time that we apologize? Is this an official Points in the Paint apology time, or do we wait one more week?
We can wait one more week. But I will say this. We can remove all the joking nicknames, right? The day-to-day Davis. Now, some people think it's only a matter of time still before he's hurt and out of the lineup. But until that happens, until that comes, we need to just pump the brakes and just appreciate what we've seen out of Anthony Davis, especially out of these last 10 games, what, 34 a game, 15 rebounds, 3 blocks, shooting very well, over 50% from the field, shooting his free throws, making his free throws with confidence, because at a point in time in the bubble, remember you said bubble AD, he was going, 85% from the free throw line.
He's absurd.
He took a step back last season and was not shooting well from the free throw line, but now he's shooting very well, shooting the ball with confidence from the free throw line, 86% over the last 10 games, shooting 40% from 3, but he's not taking 40%? As many threes from 3.
No, he's not.
So that's what's important, too. Get your big butt down there on the block.
22 for 30. On Sunday. 22 for 30 from the field.
How many rebounds?
5 points, 17 rebounds.
On the glass.
He had 55 points on Sunday. Friday, he had 44 points. November 30th, he had 27, then 25, then 25 again, then 37. I mean, the numbers, they look like
piling them
minutes played is what they're looking like. He's even scoring more points than minutes played. So Anthony Davis has been on a tear. Yes. And I think we take this week, Zach.
Okay.
To start writing up our apology. We'll write it up.
Write it up.
We'll think about what we want to say.
Okay, that's fair.
Make sure it's heartfelt. And we'll see what he does this week. See if he stays healthy.
He got some matchups this week, too.
He does. Well, I mean, you look at what's
Cleveland,
the Lakers' schedule.
Some front court. That's a nice front court. Evan Mobley, Jared Allen.
Yep.
Then they play Philly this week. James Harden returning. So that's going to be an interesting
Joel
matchup.
versus
Joel and
AD.
Baines. There you go. That's the premier game right there.
All right.
And we just saw last week AD versus Giannis, both head-to-head matchup where they both went for 40. Ooh, it was impressive.
Yeah, so, all right, we'll write the apology. We'll think about the apology, see what happens this week, and we may or may not have to officially points in the paint apologize next week.
To AD.
But he's got one more week.
Ooh,
one more week.
Okay.
55 points isn't enough for us.
It ain't.
We need a whole week.
Damn.
We need a whole week more.
Are you already going crazy on the last 10? I don't know, Ben.
Hey,
that might be a little
Listen,
that might be a little
harsh.
excessive. I don't know.
We only demand excellence.
34-15, 3 blocks, last 10.
Great. Can he do it multiple weeks? Can he stay healthy for multiple weeks?
All
That's
right.
fine.
Okay, now you're challenging it.
Stay healthy
Okay.
for 2 weeks.
Okay,
Love it.
that's
That's
fair.
fine. But
That's
listen,
fair.
he's called Anthony Day-to-Day Davis for a reason.
Okay, we're going to remove that tag by the end of the week. At least I hope we do.
We're a little harsh.
We're going to record on Thursday. We're going to see what's up. We're going to see what he did.
But honestly, he's been awesome to watch. So we'll
Yes,
see.
yeah.
That Embiid matchup with him is going to be fun.
Definitely
It's
going to be
really
fun.
I'm excited for that. Okay, the other big thing that we wanted to talk about in one big thing, and I want to say this: the Boston Celtics,
Yeah, go ahead.
are by far.
Now you see that by far that's emphasis right there. You putting some emphasis. Those are some bold 2 words right there.
The best team in the NBA. By far the best team in the NBA. And we have the stats to back that up. I have the stats to back them up.
Yeah.
What best offense in the league up to this point?
Historically.
Number one, efficiency.
In NBA history.
What is it? Efficiency, points, threes, free throws. Like
Free
everything
throws.
they're doing
True shooting percentage.
is historic.
It's unbelievable for sure. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown.
Stupid.
Coach what's the coach name? Missoula?
Mm-hmm.
He has
Joe
stepped
Mazzulla.
in. Interim coach. It has done a phenomenal job having this team clicking on the offensive end.
Coach of
they
the year.
make 17 threes a game. Definitely coach of the year. That is crazy to be an interim coach and go out there and be a front runner for coach of the year. You just come in as assistant coach thinking you're just going to be the guy sitting on the bench, and now you're the guy calling the shots, calling the plays night in, night out. Joe Mazzulla. So kudos to him.
Gave the verbal middle finger to the royal family, too.
Oh,
You
yeah.
see that? That was hilarious.
See, that I thought that was pretty funny because it's like, bro, don't nobody really care being about the royal family.
No. William
Like-
and Kate? No.
like-
no one. No
Nobody
NBA
knows
player's
they
going to
here.
care.
Like we saw them folks. I'm like, they look like some regular married couple. They don't look nothing.
They look
nothing
like a
royal.
normal- yeah.
They don't look nothing royal.
Look like 2 white people. 2 normal white people.
Two
Because
normal white
the
individuals.
reporter asked him, they said, what was it like playing in front of the royal family? And he goes, there's only one royal family, and it's Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. That's the only royal family he
Jesus,
knows.
Mary and Joseph.
It's the only royal family Joe Mazzulla knows. So that was really funny. And he's doing that and coaching the best team in the NBA.
Yep.
And historically the best offense in the NBA ever.
Ever right now.
It's absurd.
Yeah. Now, if they keep that up, they're gonna have something to say for sure for that coach of the year. They might have to give it to him. Is that gonna be the back-to-back in Boston?
Yeah.
Because he made one it last year, correct?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
Because if he did, that'll be crazy.
I mean, the
Back-to-back,
thing is,
two different coaches.
So, and that's the interesting thing then. It makes, I mean, obviously coaches have a big impact in the NBA, but this
Right.
roster in Boston is built really well.
Yeah,
Really
Michael
well.
Brogdon.
And they're all kind of in their primes now together.
They're peaking.
The addition
Derek
of
White.
Brogdon has been great.
Yep, Derek White, Michael Brogdon. See, you know what I really wish? I really wish they had Robert Williams for the defensive side, and I really wish they had that extra 3-point sniper in Gallinari.
Yeah.
Because, he tore his ACL over the summer,
oh
so
my
he
God,
won't be
could
with
you
them this
imagine?
season. So if they really had him, they'll be firing really on all cylinders on the offensive side, I feel like.
He was Tom Thibodeau, by the way, last year, coach of the year.
That's unfortunate.
Tommy T.
That's very
Good old
unfortunate.
Tommy T with the
It
Knicks.
was really Tom Thibodeau last year who won it?
It was Tom Thibodeau in 2020, 2021, then Monty Williams. Excuse me.
Okay, so Monty won it.
It was
Okay,
all
I
Monty.
can respect that.
Yeah.
Monty Williams winning.
I respect that. I mean,
Yeah,
that was
that's
good. The
fair.
Suns
That's
were
fair.
amazing last
Yeah,
year.
that's-
But maybe this year's
that's-
Joe Mazzulla's to lose at this point. Can
I
you
think
imagine
so.
an interim head coach?
Unless Willie Green might do something.
Oh, yeah, the Pelicans look
Yeah,
good.
we
8 for
gonna get
2.
to them.
I mean, you look at these teams that are playing really well right now. Lakers, obviously, because of AD, 8-2 in their last 10.
Yep.
Celtics, because of Mazzulla, and the team is scoring 65 points in the first half a game at home. Just absurd offensive statistics from the Celtics.
Yep.
Shooting making 17 threes a game, shooting like 43 threes a game.
Yep.
I mean, you cannot outshoot the Celtics. They will out 3-point shoot you every single game. So they're 8-2 over the last 10. And look at that. Little Pelicans action.
Little Pelican action.
8-2 in their last 10.
Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? We're going to see if these teams will be able to, keep this momentum going throughout the rest of this week and throughout the season.
It's pretty impressive. All right, what's trending? What's going on around the NBA? What's been trending? Shade and Sharp for the dunk contest.
He can jump out the gym.
Got those legs.
I don't know if you saw it, but did you see against the Lakers him reach back for the stars? At least that's the name of that piece in the article. Zach Impressive 6, Week 7. Make sure you check that out.
Plug action.
Yeah. But Shade and Sharp, cock it back. I'm talking about, the ball was like so far back behind him. And for him to jump so high, Shade and Sharp, above gravity, defying gravity.
Gravity so did not exist for that moment.
Did not exist for that moment. Reached so far back and slamming home, I think that was him entering the group chat for the dunk contest.
Right, we need some fresh blood. We need some fresh ideas.
Portland Trailblazers rookie I think he need to go out there and submit his name for the dunk contest because he could jump out the gym. He had a nice dunk in their last contest too against I forgot who they played the other night, but he had a nice dunk on a fast break, the 2-hand slam. The boy could jump out the gym. It's rumored.
Watch out for the Blazers.
It's rumored. The 49, he got a 49-inch vertical. Now, he didn't go to the combine. But it's rumored that he got a 49-inch vertical, which could be the best ever in the NBA.
That's insane. I mean, the Portland Trailblazers, man, they got Dame back.
Jeremy Grant's hooping.
Anthony, Jeremy Grant, Shaden Sharp.
No, hold on. Your boy now, Anthony Simon.
Mm-hmm. He's fun.
He is.
He's great.
Definitely come out. He get 30-plus points every other night.
He is athletic as hell.
Yep.
Talented as hell.
Yep.
That man, though, needs to start getting his NBA IQ points up a little bit more.
So what'd you see?
There were some moments late in the game where this team was down. He just made some baffling decisions. I love the guy. I think he's one of the better young NBA players and one of the most talented guys in the league. And I think this will happen as he gets older. But
you must have made a bet.
The situational awareness.
You must have made a bet.
I may have made a bet on the Portland Trailblazers. It may have been possible.
Yeah.
But still, what I'm saying is true here.
Okay.
What I'm saying is true. Situational awareness. A little bit better, but that's the only complaint I have.
Your only complaint?
He's great.
Okay, Jeremy Grant been hooping. Shaden Sharp for the dunk contest.
Yeah,
all right, go. Go Trailblazers, go.
Yeah,
Rip City.
Listen, we talked about the thing is, too, about the Portland Trailblazers is we were like, what was it, 2 weeks ago? Can they maintain what they were doing to start the season?
It's been somewhat sustainable.
And, right now, I mean, they faltered a little bit. They're 3-7 over the last 10, but they haven't had Dame. They haven't had a healthy Dame Lillard. They need a healthy Dame Lillard.
Yep. They're still 2 games above 500. Jeremy Grant stepping in the place of Dame Lillard to take on that number 1 option role. He's been out there playing extremely well. I think I saw a stat via StatMuse where I believe Jeremy Grant's averaging more points than a few elite guys in the NBA so far.
It's a great spot for him.
That's a great company to be in. I think it's like the likes of guys like a Paul George, the guys like Trey Young, notable names like that. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard don't play, so we can't include him.
Right. That guy needs to play.
He need to play.
But, I mean, you look at the teams that we looked back on 2 weeks ago and we're like, how can they maintain this? The Kings have done great, 7-3 over the last 10.
Nice.
Blazers faltering, 3-7 over the last 10. And the Jazz, 4-6 over the last 10.
Right.
So they're still in the playoff mix. I think they will remain in the playoff mix. But the hot start for the Jazz and the Trailblazers have cooled a little bit. And it makes sense for the Trailblazers because of that Dame injury. But we'll have to see. Time will tell if the Jazz can
Only time will tell.
Or if they just want to go full on tank.
No, I got a question for you, bro.
All right, what's the question?
Just got a question for you, my man. What's up with the Chicago Bulls? Now you gotta let the people know what's going on because I believe they lost like 3 straight, and it's been a real roller coaster for the Chicago Bulls this season. What's going on?
I don't know. I really don't know because you look on Bulls Twitter.
Yep.
And people are thinking the sky's falling. You have people thinking the Bulls are going to be tanking or want the Bulls to tank. You have another that says tanking is just not even worth it because they don't have a lot of draft picks and they have to be top 4 in next year's draft to get their pick or else it goes with Magic. So there's a lot of issues that the Bulls have right now. They don't have a lot of future draft picks. They're stuck with a big contract with Zach LaVine. Mm-hmm. They don't know what to do with DeMar and they don't know what to do with Vucevic. So there is a lot of issues in Bulls land. Colby White's hasn't really improved that much. He's kind of what the Bulls fans have expected for the last year or so. He's been good. I mean, he's a scorer. The guy can score, but can he do it consistently? And that's really the only thing he can do. Io's kind of faltered a little bit. It's just there's not a lot right going on in Chicago right now, and there's really not an easy wait for them to get out of it. They backed themselves into a corner with no picks, bad contracts, and old guys who, who wants DeMar DeRozan right now for a really good price that's worth it to the Bulls? Who wants Vucevic at a good price that's worth it to the Bulls? So maybe they'll find a team that's willing to take him and they'll have a good offer, but the Bulls are not in a good position to negotiate. That's the other thing. They're just not in a good position either way. So there is a lot of issues with this team. They are not going to compete for a playoff spot, let alone maybe compete for a play-in spot.
Y'all heard it?
That's
my best impression of a violin. But Ben, I gotta at least.
They're just bad.
I gotta brighten it up a little bit. Like, in fairness to them, they desperately need Lonzo back. Like, desperately need him because they can't guard anyone on the perimeter right now. The Chicago Bulls. Any given night, you never know what you'll get out of Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan.
Right.
Now, but it's really more so.
Yeah, Zach hasn't been as good either.
It's been more so a consistent thing with Zach LaVine as opposed to DeRozan. Now, I got to come to the defense on DeMar DeRozan because I feel like for the most part this season, he's done his due diligence in terms of production-wise, making sure he's held himself accountable. Now, I think the other guys, for the most part, like you mentioned, Vucevic. Now, a lot of Chicago Bulls fans, they kind of be ragging. I don't really like how y'all be kind of ragging on Vucevic. And I don't really think he deserved, that much criticism. Yeah,
he's
because it's like he's gonna. What tier of big men are we putting him in order for the criticism to like really be necessary?
Sure.
So like if he's a tier 3 center or a big man, however you want to describe it, then okay, I don't think the criticism should be warranted if he's a tier 3 guy. But if you believe that Vucevic is a tier 2 or can be a possible tier 1, then I can understand where the criticism can come from. Because it's like, okay, the 17 and like 8 or 9 in a league where it ain't really too many good bigs, like he's probably in that category. Vucevic with like JV, Jonas Valanciunas, DeAndre Ayton, who we'll probably talk about later, Yusuf Nurkic, those kind of centers where he's not necessarily super, but he's not Isaiah Stewart. Like, that's below the tier, right? That's like tier 4 in terms of like bigs in the league. Mitchell Robinson, like he's better than those guys, but is he better than a Jokic, or is he up there with a Jokic or an Embiid? Or no, I don't. But I think that's okay though.
No, I think you're 100% right on that. Maybe the expectations for him are a little too high, and I think the problem is people expect him to be a better 3-point shooter than he sometimes is.
Okay, that's fair.
He's shooting 34% from 3, looks like, but there are games, he's had a 1 for 7 game.
That's
bad. He had 0 for 4 games. So
that's bad. That is
he
bad.
can hit the 3, but it's just sometimes inconsistent, and he does take a good chunk of threes. He'll take anywhere between 3 and 7 or 8 a game. So he'll take his 3-point shots, and there are times where he just won't look good doing it.
Right.
But I agree. I don't know 100% what Bulls fans expect out of him. Maybe I expected a little too much out of him. Maybe he just doesn't fit within the way this team plays offense. I mean, the paint's pretty clogged. Zach LaVine is not a 3-point shooter.
DeMar DeRozan off the midi.
DeMar DeRozan is that mid-range
Yeah, he off the midi. So
you'd expect Vucevic to be out on the outside, be that stretch 5 that they think works for their offense. I don't think that's the way that he plays naturally. So there are a lot of issues, I think, with the way this team is built and the way they operate.
Okay.
And the fact that they don't have assets like draft picks, and they don't really have a good trade bait. I mean, honestly, if we're being honest with ourselves, their best trade bait right now is Alex Caruso. He is the player that most teams are going to be interested in my opinion. It seems like that's the way the reporting is going, is if they were to trade Alex Caruso, that would garner the most interest.
That's unfortunate because they kind of need him, especially with no Lonzo Ball. Like,
I mean, Lonzo's done. That's
you got to have some form of perimeter defense out there. Io, he's doing the best he can.
Sure.
I don't really expect too much on the defensive side from Kobe White. So that's when Alex Caruso is the guy that steps up for them. So it'd be unfortunate if he was on the trade block, Alex Caruso, for the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what direction the Bulls go into because it's not looking good for Lonzo. He seemed to me kind of that key piece for this Bulls team.
Right.
He's not going to make him a contender by himself, but he's certainly going to elevate their play and elevate everyone's play around him. But his knee just might be completely done, and who knows if he's going to come back. It doesn't sound like he's making any improvements in his rehab whatsoever.
Yeah, it's been an unfortunate 2 years.
It's not good. Yeah, so not good in Bulls land right now, Zach.
Okay.
You know what also isn't good, though? Speaking of transitions, Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks. What's going on there? There's reports from Ron Shams talking about how a little trouble in paradise between him and head coach Nate McMillan. Yeah, and they were fighting, and Trae Young missed a game because Nate McMillan said either you're coming off the bench or don't come to the game at all, and he didn't come to the game at all. And people were talking about, is there a rift between Trae Young and his coach? And it sounds like there is a little bit, but maybe people are making too big of a deal out of it.
You can make on a scale of 1 to 10, this on a serious note, this is probably about a 7.
Okay.
Probably say about a 7 being, because this is how I break it down. This is how I look at the position. So Nate McMillan's out here giving him an ultimatum. So you're either gonna play, come off the bench, or B, not play at all, because Trae Young refused to go through shoot around because he wanted to rehab his shoulder. Now, Ben, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Does it make any sense logically? Just hearing these words right here, does it make sense? If my shoulder needs rehab and I need treatment on my shoulder, you shoot the basketball with your arms, right? Last time I checked, you know what I'm saying, use your hands, shoot, you know what I'm saying, you got your arms
sure.
and all that. So if I need to rehab my shoulder, Ben, why would I go through shoot around, shooting the basketball, using my arms, moving my shoulders around in that sort of fashion, when I could be getting treatment, so then I could be game time decision,
right?
GTD, and possibly come off the bench, as opposed to not playing at all because my coach is challenging me, giving me an ultimatum about my health and my body, like he knows my body.
That is weird. That's a weird move to make, especially with a star player, let alone any player, but your star player. That's a weird move
weird
for McMillan to be making. So I'm wondering if this is going to cause any issues. I mean, it's not like the Hawks are a bad team.
Right.
It's not like people, sometimes losing fuels people's anger, but they're 4th in the East. They're 13-10. They're not
a
terrible
bad
team. They're going to make the playoffs probably, as long as nothing goes terribly wrong. But so it's a little weird for this to be happening for a team that's been relatively successful this season. So something's really got to be an issue between those two. And you would hope, because they're both professional, they figure it out. But you never know.
You never know.
So we'll have to monitor that one. All
3
right,
on 3.
Little 3 on 3.
Yeah, little 3 on 3
I think
action.
it's the second time we've done this segment.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing a cut,
3.
start, bench. Is that
Cut,
what we're doing?
start, and bench. And I want to challenge you because I think I know where you're going to go with this.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't know who you're going to cut. But between Anthony Davis, Jokic, and Nikola Jokic, and Joel Embiid, Ben, you gotta cut one, start one, and bench one. Ben, I'm putting the spotlight on you, player. Who are you going to do? Who are you gonna cut? Who are you gonna start? Who are you gonna bench?
I am not going to let recency bias cloud my judgment. AD, go to the bench.
That's crazy.
He's going to the bench, Anthony Davis. Show me you can stay healthy.
I was like, right now, though, you got to cut, start, and bench right now.
I'm not going to be blinded. I'm not going to be blinded by the 55-17 performance by Anthony Davis. It's
Okay.
great. He's playing well.
Not the 40-point.
Great.
Okay.
Do it for an entire season, AD.
Not the last 10 games.
Be there for your team.
34-15,
Stay
3 blocks.
healthy. Stay healthy.
Okay.
Be there for your team, AD. I am not fully sold on this. Maybe another week. Again, the apology might be coming next week to Anthony Davis from this very podcast. But give it another week. I'm gonna cut Anthony Davis. Excuse me. Cut Anthony.
So you're
Davis.
cutting AD. Ooh.
Going to the bench, cutting him. Embiid off the bench. Jokic is going to be the starter.
I knew the starter. I knew. I just didn't know what you was going to do with Joel.
And you know why? He's got the highest usage out of all these guys. His team is terrible. You look at the on-off numbers between Jokic and the Nuggets when he's not playing versus when he plays. Oh, my God. It's like a G League team versus an NBA team when he's on and off the court there.
Okay.
I think Jokic is more versatile than Embiid. Embiid will give you 50 burgers night in and night out. He can do that.
Yeah.
Jokic won't. He's not going to get you 50 points in a game. But he'll give you the passing, and he'll give you kind of the sneaky good defense at times. Embiid's a better defender, of course, but Jokic will give you the sneaky good defense. I like the playmaking ability of Jokic. He gives you so many more options offensively to do. Give me Jokic starting. Embiid off the bench.
I knew you
come at me.
See, I knew you.
Come at me.
So it's so funny because I knew you was gonna start with. I knew you started Nikola Jokic like off top.
You have to.
I knew you was
He's
gonna
my
do
little
that.
chunky boy.
But the other two, Joel Embiid and Anthony Davis, I wasn't sure whether or not you were gonna do in terms of cutting and benching. Now, if you know me, and the fact that never will I ever. Your boy done sold the bag, Nikola Jokic. You know I gotta cut him first and foremost. Gotta cut dog.
So you're riding with AD.
I might have to roll.
Last week and a half.
You said the recency bias, right? I might be rolling recency bias because I'm starting AD for sure right now. I'm starting today, right now. I'm starting Anthony Davis, 55-17, 40 burger against Giannis, the match to 40 from Giannis, and secure the win on the road. Look, I know you said recency bias.
Open your eyes.
But I got to roll with my man's AD start, and then Joel got to come off the bench because Joel coming off injury, and that's the formality of it right now. And then I got a little proof to back it up now. You know, the Denver Nuggets, they balling. You know, they third right now, so I can give them that. Philly, they've been struggling a little bit. They kind of getting back on the winning side for the most part, but they kind of lost 2 in a row. So we got to see what happens. And they got Joel. They just got Joel back. So we gonna see what happens being. But AD, and you see AD out there. You see what he doing. You see they 8-2. I know you said
Let's see the consistency
bias,
through
but
the
you got to see
season.
some consistency.
Let's see it. Let's see if AD can be bubble AD, not in the bubble, for multiple weeks. I want to see that.
Okay.
What are you not doing anymore? Never will I ever. You are never doing what?
Betting to Washington. Listen, Ava, I don't know what's going on, Ava Wallace, Washington Post. I know you cover the Washington Wizards, but I don't know what's going on with it. We might have to bring you back on the podcast to figure out what is happening with this team, man, because
they're tanking for a pick.
I don't understand it. But Bradley Beal got hurt in their last game. I saw the opening minutes.
Yes.
But before that, earlier this past week, they were playing the Charlotte Hornets. They were even favored, I believe, -3. I said, oh yeah, they can beat them. There's no LaMelo Ball for the Charlotte Hornets, so they should be able to beat them. No, sirree. They go out there. They not only didn't cover and not win the game, they got the doors blown off. Doors flat out blown off. I was so mad. You know, they messing up the parlay. You know the part. It was only a little.
You can't get them if you mess the parlay up.
And it was only a little 3-legger.
Bye.
The Lakers covered. They did what they were supposed to do. The Nets had ended up covering. They did what they were supposed to do. It's just that one last leg.
It's always the Wizards.
Always the Wiz.
Yeah, they're getting down to Bulls territory.
They are getting down in Bulls territory.
They're a game and a half over the Bulls. That's it. Game and a half.
Then they struggling too, because it's like, okay, you guys are not going to have Bradley Beal for the formality of future, probably at least 2 weeks. So these next 2 weeks is going to be crucial for the Wizards season, whether or not they're going to be tanking for Victor Wembanyama or trying to get into that play-in scenario. So we going to see.
They have to make a decision soon.
They do got to make a decision.
On the hotline, again, give us a call. Give us a text, 773-273-9088. Also, we're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Leave some comments.
Everywhere.
Put them on the pod. Newsom in Detroit says it's time to start talking about Big Z.
I don't think he's talking about me.
Or Carlos Zambrano.
I don't think he's talking about me.
I think he's talking about Zion.
I think he's talking about Big Zion.
It's the only Big Z I can think of.
The only Big Z I can think of, too.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about him a lot. Maybe we could talk about him more. Pelicans have been playing
just probably
great.
the league too, just in general. He's
too,
from like a media national standpoint. People need to put some respect on that team.
It's weird, right? Because this guy came in as like the next LeBron.
Yep.
Gets hurt, is in and out of games.
Misses
a season, and then people just kind of forgot. The hype around him.
Yeah, I think the injury.
Obama was at his game at Duke. That's how big this guy was.
Yeah,
you got
big
the president of the United States coming to your college games. And now he's kind of an afterthought.
And it's kind of sad because he's been balling, playing extremely well, averaging 23 and 7 on the year, probably shooting over 50%. Yep, shooting close to 60% from the field. He's playing stellar. I think the last probably 3 or 4 games for Zion, he's had over 30. Getting bored on the glass, and on top of that, jumping out the gym. Definitely on the fast break, playing with aggressiveness, playing hard on defense. Because that was one of the things too. And the question marks for them was like, will he be durable on the defensive side of the ball?
Can he play defense?
And he's been able to do that so far, being throughout.
That's good.
With the absence of some of their best players, I think CJ's been out the lineup the last few games, and then you see what Jose Alvarado go out there and do. And you know what's funny? Whenever Jose Alvarado has a good game, he always credits Zion. Because he always says that Zion gives him that confidence to go out there and be great.
I mean, he's a good player, and we could
devote
more time talking to Zion more. I think that's who would have thought we'd be saying this. We need to talk about Zion more after the last couple of years. But man, it's impressive that he's now healthy and he's playing 18 games played this season, 32 minutes a game. I mean, he looks like a normal NBA player, and people just don't talk. Maybe it's because he's in New Orleans. I mean, if this guy was on the Knicks, you'd hear about him every single night.
Every day.
So maybe it's just the market that he's in, and they may have another Anthony Davis issue where Zion's like, I need to go somewhere bigger. I need to get to the big market. Let's see. Whitfield in Michigan. Why can't Ayton be a top big in the NBA?
I thought that was a fair question. That was a fair question, I thought. What do you think?
Here's my kind of question on this. So does Whitfield mean why don't people consider him a top big, or is it possible for Ayton to become a top big?
I think it's more so is it possible for him to be in that? Remember that tier we talked about? Like, could he really be a tier 1 big in this league? Now, you look at his counterparts. They didn't play the same position, but if you look at his counterparts that he came in with in terms of that draft class, I believe it's 2017. With DeAndre Ayton being the number 1 pick, and then obviously Luka Doncic is in the mix, and Trae Young. Those were like the 3 premier guys in that draft that we look back on and say, okay, well, like who won the draft or who were successful, this, that, and the third. Now, you look, okay, Luka, baller, all-star, number 1 option, all that. Trae Young, same thing. But DeAndre Ayton, he's out there in Phoenix. He's a big man. This isn't a big man's game, and he's probably the 3rd option right now, currently without Chris Paul in the lineup. He's probably the 3rd option after Mikal Bridges every other night, give or take. But I can think in this recent game, and I think that's why this question got proposed, is that he had like a 25-point game, like 10-plus rebounds. And so when you have a game like that, and he's had other games like that recently too as well over the course of the last 2-3 games being, I think that question can be presented. Can he be one of those guys, the Joel Embiids, the Nikola Jokic's of the world, the Anthony Davises of the world? Because what tier is he in right now? If you ask that question, where does he fit? Is he in the Bams? Is he in the Jurkic's? Is he in the Vucevic? Like, where does he fit in terms of ranks?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good point. I'm looking down. I kind of sorted all these, points per game by centers on the NBA.com website. Ayton's 11th in points per game for centers. You got people like Miles Turner ahead of him. Bam Adebayo's ahead of him.
And that tripped me out because Bam Adebayo averages 21 and 9 points as of this recording, Ben. Yeah. I was so surprised by that because the eye test will tell you it don't really look like he's giving you that offensive spark, Bam Adebayo.
Right. And it's weird that he's up there. When I looked at that,
you probably were surprised, right?
I looked immediately to games played, and I'm like, oh, maybe it's a small sample size. Like, Bam been out a lot. No, he's normal. So that's kind of weird. But I think that's just points per game. 11th in points per game among centers.
Right.
That's kind of how we view Ayton. He's just outside that top 10 of centers, and he's someone who has the ability, I think, to be in that top 10 of centers. But there's just, you watch him play and you're like, he's just not making that extra step to be dominant.
Okay.
Like you're a big eye test guy. You can see a guy and be like, dominant. You can watch Luka play, dominant. You watch LeBron in his prime, dominant. When you watch DeAndre Ayton play, how often do you say dominant?
I don't, and I think that's what's rough about it being is that I don't never really say it. But then I'll also say this though, being sometimes I sit there and I watch Phoenix Suns and watch them games being. I sit there and I just wonder. I think to myself like, why don't they give this man the ball more? Like, I think that plays a role in it too sometimes. Like, he just needs some touches. Like, you go check that box score in his last game where he scored at 25 points. He had 16 attempts. Now, I think on any given night, he should have 10-plus attempts. There's no excuse.
Right.
There's no excuse. He goes 7 for 10. That's 48 points. You get a couple and-1s. That's like 18. So there's no excuse. There's no excuse.
20 and 10 guy.
There you go. And you match it out. You round it out. You end up getting like 20 points a game, 10 boards, 12 boards. That can put you in that conversation to be maybe not necessarily a Joel Embiid or Nikola Jokic or Giannis Antetokounmpo, but it does put you in the conversation of other guys like Jurkic, like a Jonas Valanciunas, other guys in the league who make impacts for their team respectfully. So I think if he could just continue that production on the offensive side, demand the ball. I think he has to start demanding the ball. Put your hand up on the block. Say, I need the rock, Devin. I know you're going crazy with the 50s and the 40s, but I need to eat too, B. I need to tell folks that this contract is worth it, and I really want to be here in Phoenix under Monty Williams.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think you're right. I think that comes with he just needs to be a little more selfish, and he needs to really use his stature and his ability to become more dominant night in and night out. Then maybe he can be a top guy in the NBA. But he's definitely not tier 1.
Exactly.
And he's probably in the bottom end of tier 2.
So, like, Who you taking? Sabonis?
Like if we're talking about Vooch, I would take DeAndre over Vooch.
Nice.
Of course.
What about Sabonis? I had to throw that name out there. Taking Sabonis or you taking Aiden?
Ooh.
I
think that depends on the type of team surrounding him.
I still like just blank sheet. I might have to take Sabonis.
Yeah.
Might have to.
Yeah. Sabonis is up there. 100%. I think he's up there. Like you see guys you see some of these lists. I mean, the top tier is Jokic and Embiid, of course.
Jokic, Embiid, Giannis, Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Bam
centers.
Yeah,
I don't even know if I consider Giannis a center, but
yeah, he's just like a big. That's just he's
there.
Tall, he's dominant in the paint, so I just consider him a big just in general. But like you see these names we just ran off, I feel like Aiden can be in that conversation. Like he can be just as good as Karl Anthony Towns. Like Karl Anthony Towns is probably the best tier 2 big in the NBA.
Yep.
Like he's probably right. He's probably the first one in line after the Embiids and the Jokic's of the world. Like right after that, you probably can go Karl Anthony Towns. Yeah. Just strictly for the offensive
Julius
side.
Randle.
Julius Randle
is more of a power
probably
forward,
he's probably more power forward, and that's probably that tier 3 conversation we talked about too, where like Ayton's probably in the mixture between 2 and 3, but he could probably be on the high end of 2 and can be pushing himself towards that 1. He's still young too though. Ayton's only probably like 21, 22 years old, man. Yeah. So he got still plenty more time to really improve that game and be in that caliber player. Caliber player.
It's an interesting question. I like it though. I mean, I think DeAndre Ayton needs a little bit more attention, but I think he also needs to be more aggressive with himself, the way he plays, for sure.
So thank you, Whitfield. We appreciate that. And also Newsom, too, in Detroit for Big Z, Big Zion. Oh, yeah, we see him out there hooping with the back-to-back 30 games and,
Don't worry.
And giving his teammates confidence, Jose Alvarado. So we feeling that. We appreciate that. And if you, the listener, if you got a hot take or if you have a question that you want to present to us, 773-273-9088. You can hit us up on our Twitter feeds too as well. Zach Badgerhouse, Ben Winstein, respectfully, of course. And that's going to conclude this edition of Points in the Paint podcast presented by Stadium. Make sure you go to Stadium's YouTube channel and check out these lovely faces. Remember, being these lovely faces, and you will hear from us next week.